Welcome to part 2 of our Parent University series of College and Career Readiness. This one is called How Much Time is Needed to Prepare for College? As part of our district strategic plan, Future Ready 2023, this support focuses on future ready students. What we'll cover includes college selection timeline, when do you need to start thinking about your college selection? College considerations for students and parents. So how is this going to work out for kids and parents alike? And then how to conduct research on colleges and planning college visits and tours. So first, college considerations. How much time do you actually have to select your colleges as a student? Well, a student actually should begin the application process by the start of their senior year in high school. Seniors can actually begin applying to colleges in August. So this means families and students really need to begin serious exploration before senior year. So here are some things that you can do leading up to your senior year. Junior year is a very busy year and very challenging academically for all of our students. So they do need a lot of support from their family and from their teachers and other support staff during this time. But at fall of junior year, students can really begin making a list of colleges. They can start taking these standardized tests and practicing for standardized tests. The PSAT occurs in October, and it's a great introduction for what the SAT looks like. And it's also a chance to qualify for the National Merit Scholarship for high achieving students that are really great at test taking and preparing for tests. At winter of their junior year, it's going to require lots and lots of preparation. So kids need to start narrowing down their schools. They need to find out about finances. Parents, this is a time for you to really start speaking to your kids about finances. How much money can you actually contribute to their college or their post-graduation pathway? How much money have you saved up? And also, another thing that you need to do is make sure that you're doing your taxes. There is something called the Fafsa, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, that students and families will need to do in the fall of their senior year in high school. And this requires that you have completed your taxes. So parents, make sure that you're keeping up and completing your taxes, submitting them, and having everything taken care of with the IRS so that students can submit these things to make sure that you can get access to grants and scholarships, especially in the state of Tennessee. You must complete this free application for federal student aid. So really start thinking about finances. How much money do you have set aside? What kind of scholarships that your student can apply for, and start preparing for those things. They can start registering for the SAT or the ACT, these big entrance exams as well, in the winter of their junior year. By the spring of their junior year, this is really the time to step it up a notch, study, study, study. This is a lot of testing and assessment for your students. They will be provided a free ACT opportunity. Those happen in March in the state of Tennessee. So the students will get access to a free opportunity to take the ACT in the state of Tennessee. This is also the time to really start a scholarship search. What things do your students need for scholarships? What ACT scores are going to bring them the most money? These ACT and SAT scores are really a great way to access funds and scholarships for college. In fact, the Tennessee Hope Lottery Scholarship, students have to have a 21 on the ACT, or they have to have a 3.0 on their GPA. So the better the ACT score and the higher the GPA, the more money they can access for scholarships and grants for schools. And then also in spring of junior year, students will have access to take the AP exams. AP exams, or if the student takes an AP, which is advanced placement courses at their school, they'll have access and a chance to be able to take these AP exams. And if they score high enough on the AP exam, then that can actually give them college credit. So that is like paying the price of the test for the AP test, and then a student, if scores high enough, can get college credit to be able to replace a credit-bearing class that they would take at college. So it's a great opportunity. It gives students a little more wiggle room when it comes to trying to graduate in 4 years. If they've got some of these dual enrollment or AP tests that can give them credit, then they won't have to take as many credit hours each semester while they're in college. So now it's crunch time, thinking about summer before senior year. This is where students really need to start visiting colleges. If you're able to, try to visit campuses. If you can carpool, if you're able to, just whenever you go on vacation, if you're going to be able to strategically make your route where you can bypass on that road trip, bypass a couple of colleges, that's a great way to get exposure, because there's nothing better than being able to put your feet on campus to know if it really feels like a good fit for your student to move there for 4 years or for 2 years, however long they're going to be away, that they would be able to live and thrive there and be able to succeed. So visiting those campuses, getting that real gut feeling of what it is like to be on the campus, can also help families and parents and adults be reassured of whether that's a good fit for their student to be able to succeed and thrive. Creating a common application account. Students can do this as early as August of their senior year. It is very intensive application, but the common application can be used on hundreds of different schools. So it's a great place to start, but it is super intensive. So unless a student is applying to at least 3 or more common app schools, if they have the opportunity just to apply directly to the college, it's a lot easier on them. So fall of senior year, here's where the rubber meets the road. Students will be required to start writing college essays, applying for early decision, early action. Early decision is a binding agreement, so make sure you talk to your college and career advisor specifically about that, because it is a legally binding application. Early decision means that you have to make the decision to attend there early, but it does increase chances of getting into schools that are highly selective. So you can definitely do that research and check in with your college and career advisor at your high school to learn more about those opportunities. You want to finish all your applications by December. Really, we want kids to pay attention to the scholarship deadlines. Those are the most important. A lot of college applications aren't due until the spring, but all of the scholarships are due in the fall. So you can apply and still get into the school, but you won't have access to those scholarships if you don't apply in the fall of senior year. So it's very important to pay attention to those deadlines. For instance, early November, if you want to go to our state flagship of UTK in Knoxville, you have to apply to the school and to the college of UTK early November, or you will not be considered for scholarships there. So it's really important to pay attention to those scholarship application deadlines rather than just the college entrance application deadlines. So this brings me to the next point, making a list of deadlines, creating a spreadsheet, putting it into your calendar, really paying attention, because there's not wiggle room. Occasionally there's an extension, but most of the time it doesn't happen. So it's really, really important to pay attention to those scholarship deadlines, because you lose access to all those thousands of dollars if you apply to the college after, or if you miss those scholarship deadlines. And filling out the FAFSA, this is what I spoke about earlier, the free application for federal student aid. This is required to receive any scholarship. It's required to receive the Tennessee Promise, the 2 free years. It's required to receive any grant money or the Tennessee Lottery Hope funds. It doesn't matter what your income is, whether you are very wealthy or if you are disadvantaged. The FAFSA is the ticket to getting scholarships and grant funding. So every single school is going to require, if you want any funding whatsoever, you will have to complete the FAFSA. And this does require that your taxes are completed for the prior year. The prior year. So make sure you're checking those things out. Learn and talk to your school counselor and your school, college, and career advisor for more information. So what are the things to consider in choosing college? Again, we spoke about that this is where a student is going to go to thrive. There are a lot of things that if we just think about a plant that needs to thrive, it's got to have good soil. It's got to have a right location. It's got to have the right amount of sunshine, the right amount of moisture and water. These are all things that our children need too. So think about what our kids need to thrive. So we've got to think about the location. What area does your student want to attend school? Do they want to be in New England? Do they want to be out west? Do they want to stay in town or stay close by? And to think about those items, to think about where they're going to do well. And then the campus setting. Does your student want to be in the quiet of nature and be in a rural setting where they're not very close to anything? It takes 20 minutes to get to the grocery store. Or do they prefer to be in an urban setting where they can use public transportation and get everywhere quickly and have access to everything very centrally located? So it's important to think, where's your student going to thrive? Where are they going to do best? And then thinking about school size. Did your student attend a large high school? Did they do well there, or did they feel lost? Did they go to a small school? Did they want to move on to a larger school? College, there are many different sizes of colleges, but there are some colleges that are small enough that all the teachers are going to know your student's name. They're going to know each other and be in these small class sizes where they can get attention one-on-one from the professors. But there are other schools that are very, very large, and they can have a lot of anonymity when they're there, and they may thrive in that situation. So it's really important to figure out what's best and a best fit for your kid. Think about also the type of institutions. There's so many different types. It's not just about this brick and mortar, ivy covered, old-fashioned liberal arts colleges. There's so many different opportunities. There's technical college, there's community college, there's also apprenticeship programs. Think about what resources and amenities your kid needs to thrive. So do they need on-campus housing? Are they going to need transportation? If they stay home, they've got to commute. What are other specific resources? Do they have dietary limitations? Does the cafeteria provide a gluten-free environment so that your student can safely eat the food there if they are gluten intolerant? Think about other things like that. What's really important is what's going to keep your child safe and where they're going to feel safe and thrive. Think about also, do they need counseling? Is there counseling offered on campus? Is there a health clinic on campus? There are different things that your student does need. And so just really pay attention to what the offerings are and try to get the biggest bang for your buck, so to speak, as far as getting all the support that you need. And remember that room and board almost always cost close to the same amount as tuition. So that can double the cost of going to a college if a student does need campus housing. And think about the special interests and activities, extracurriculars that your kid really enjoys and will help to support them to have a very successful post-secondary opportunity. So are they interested in sports, in arts, and study abroad, thinking about ROTC or a co-op program, different internship accessibility? All schools have clubs and organizations, and this is a way for students to really make friends and network and have a support system there. So there are even Dungeons and Dragons and gaming clubs at different schools. So if there's something that your student is into, we can find a school or college that has a club or an organization that can support them and help them thrive. Okay, these are the two big ones. This makes it or break it a good majority of the time when it comes to choosing a college or post-secondary pathway. How much money can you afford to help your student with? This is something that many of us are living paycheck to paycheck. You've got to think about the future and how much it's going to cost. What kind of resources are out there? What kind of other financial aid can your student access? But then still, how much money will it cost to purchase books? If they're going to move to a different climate, they're going to need different clothing. How much is it going to cost to be able to outfit them and get them in a new wardrobe? Does your student have a specific major? Like they know that they want to be a teacher. Well, if the college that they're looking at doesn't provide an education major, then that will change everything. If the student doesn't know what their major is, it's really important to find a school that offers at least their top three. So for instance, if a student does want to go into education, they want to be a teacher, but they decide after taking their first year of classes that they don't want to do that any longer. They want to become a nurse. Well, if nursing isn't at that school or at that college, they're going to have to go through a transfer. Not only are they going to change their major, but they're going to also have to change their school if it's not offered at the same school. And this changes financial aid. Obviously, it can make for a move for a student physically. So it's important to really look at a college that has a wealth of offerings, at least of the top few offerings that your student is really interested in. So that takes a lot of research to be able to consider all of those things. It's important to think about looking into research and planning. So creating a college binder is a great way to do it. Researching colleges online, asking for information packets, going to college fairs, career fairs, preparing for those entrance tests. Take advantage of any ACT boot camps or ACT prep classes at your school. And ask your college and career advisor or your counselor for free ACT study guides. There are many different options and opportunities that we can provide for our students. So make sure you ask at your school for those free study guides or free opportunities to prepare for the ACT. And then start researching the funding sources. So learn more about the Fafsa, and then plan some college visits. Try to get feet on campuses. That really will help to assure and affirm you in making the right decision. And it's just as valuable if a student and your family visits a school that they don't like. They've learned what to not look for in their next school and what they're pursuing. So all of this research and early planning is really going to help your student to be in the best situation. Okay, so campus visits. I know it is hard to travel, especially traveling far. There are opportunities through your high schools if your student can talk to and see about field trips. Sometimes that the high schools will provide college field trips where students can actually go and visit campuses. If a student is part of the band or in athletics, then they're able to go and visit other schools sometimes and occasionally be able to play at a college campus. But it's really important to try and begin visiting colleges even before junior year, because junior year is incredibly busy for the student academically. As early as you possibly can, just getting that exposure is very important. So families, please take advantage of that. Even aunties and grandparents and uncles can help with this kind of stuff. Take your kids, help those students get exposure. They don't know what they don't know. And so getting them that exposure can really change their trajectories and their success in lives. It's important for parents to go and learn about that, to support the students so they understand what the student's going to go through. And if they can, at least visit 5 or 6 colleges, that really helps a student to have the option to compare and be able to have a really good choice. Expect to spend several hours on campus, at least 2 to 3, so that you can do a tour, you can talk to financial aid, perhaps even be able to see if your student can sit in on a class and experience that. It's really great. If you're not able to travel, check out virtual school tours. There are so many options online where you can actually go in and see a 360 view. There are wonderful, with technology now, you can feel like you're actually there in an experience with a firsthand view. So here are some links. I won't walk you through everything, but I just want to let you know there's an app for our Hamilton County school students called Degree U, and it can help a student create a best fit college list very easily, that they can use that college list and go and talk to their college and career advisor at their high school and ask them about trying to get connections with these schools. It's a really easy, it only takes a few minutes, but it's a great place to start for your students. And then there are so many others that you can look at, search engines and learning more about ACT prep online, college matches, and then just really trying to dig deep into what kind of college is best for your student. And then application fee waivers. It can cost anywhere from $15 to $100 to apply to each college. So fee waivers can come in handy if your student and your family is eligible. So talk to your college and career advisor to help with that, because it can get very expensive when a student begins applying for colleges. Just researching the cost. Don't be scared of large ticket prices for certain private schools, because those schools often have the largest scholarships. Many students, especially those that are high achieving or are underrepresented, they can go to very expensive colleges for cheaper than going to public colleges in our state. And that is because these other colleges have lots of money to offer. Certain colleges don't, but there are some that do have wonderful scholarships. So really look in depth. If a student is in love with a very expensive college, that doesn't mean that they're going to have to pay more for it than a public college. So really look into your information, research those funding opportunities, and then try to track and keep up with a list. So parents, what do you do? Really start putting these dates on a calendar, prepare a timeline so that you can support your student through all of these opportunities. Think about it early. really, really early. So if you can start talking to your student about it in sophomore year, that can make it more of a reality, and you have more time to prepare and make sure that you're doing what you need to get that funding and get that exposure. And then what things, make a list. Lists are great for helping students to put a priority list of what they really, really need and is a non-negotiable, and trying to get online college tours and research that information. What GPA does a student have to get into college? What, do they have to have a 2.85 or do they have to have a 3.5 to get into this college? What's their GPA like now? So these are all very important questions to ask and start planning for ahead of time. Please connect with us. I appreciate your time and I hope you have a great day.